Hi, I'm Val, and this is an original recipe you'll only find here on this channel. So while your oven is preheating to 225, let's hear a word from our fruity sponsors. In a world in need of flavor and excitement, two extraordinary fruits rise to the occasion. Introducing lemon, the electrifying hero with a zest for justice, and raspberry, the explosive powerhouse of sweetness. Together, they are the Tart Tanglers. We're here to bring a tangy twist to crime fighting. Watch as they use their electrifying zest and explosive berry power to protect the city. Let's show them what a little zest and sweetness can do. Together, we're a flavor sensation they won't forget. Lemon and raspberry, the dynamic duo that puts a punch of flavor and saves the day. Coming soon to a theater near you. We're going to start with the crust, and you need 6 egg whites, and you'll also need 8 egg yolks for the filling. We're starting with a basic meringue of whipped egg whites, but then we're adding a French flair to it with almonds next. So to get the meringue to whip to stiff peaks, you can't have any bit of yolk in it, not a smidgen of fat or anything. Matter of fact, everything has to be super clean. This is why I separate my eggs outside the main bowl. Look there, see? One yolk just burst on me. You can also use your hands if it's easier. They separate easier when they're fresh out of the refrigerator. Now add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar, help stabilize things, and whisk this all together on medium speed until it's pretty much all foam. And don't be afraid to scrape down the bowl as needed. This cornstarch needs a little help to blend in and make friends. Then on high speed, add in 2 cups of sugar very, very slowly. I use a soup spoon to slow my bigger self down. This gives the sugar granules time to dissolve. And once it's all whisked to stiff peaks, which can take 10 minutes, fold in 2½ cups of almond flour and 1½ cups of chopped up almonds. And I use a food processor to chop mine. And make sure you dig down all the way to the bottom of the bowl, like you're treasure hunting for chunks. Line your 9x13 pan with parchment paper, and to keep the paper down, I kind of glue it with some of the meringue around the edge. And you can pipe it in or pour it in and spread it with an offset spatula. These offset spatulas are one of the most handiest tools in my drawers. Oh, and I forgot this step when I was shooting the video. Spray your paper down lightly with baking spray with flour. It'll help you get your cake out when it's all done. Then bake for 90 minutes. And while the crust is baking, let's move on to the filling. You'll need the zest of 2 to 3 lemons. Ooh, that tickles! And ½ cup of lemon juice. And save 2 tablespoons of the lemon juice to put in the raspberry filling later. Put the juice right in with the zest and start heating that to a nice simmer. You know, the simmer where it starts bubbling around the edges without roaring all over. Then in a heat-proof bowl, take 2 cups of sugar and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and whisk those to combine. Add in your 4 yolks and your 2 eggs and whisk them all together. Now we're tempering here. What we're doing is we're bringing up the temperature of the eggs without making scrambled eggs. And this is one of the ways to do it. Then pour it back in your saucepan and rinse out your bowl because you'll need it later. Keep stirring constantly so it doesn't scald around the corners and the bottom. And heat it on medium heat very gradually back up to at least 160 degrees. You can go as high as 180, but you'll be entering the burn zone. It'll thicken right up in about 7 to 10 minutes. It'll become slightly thicker than cream of mushroom soup from a can. And set this aside. Now for the raspberry filling, it's very similar. Take 340 grams of frozen raspberries, or fresh if you like. It's a whole bag. Now add in those 2 tablespoons of lemon juice and half a cup of water. Start that heating up on medium heat. Then in a separate bowl, take half a cup of sugar and your 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and whisk those thoroughly. Dump in your 4 yolks and your 2 eggs and whisk, 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 whisk. Back over at the saucepan, you'll notice your berries are broken down, or at least in the midst of breaking down, and turning into this beautiful syrup. When it starts steaming and bubbling around the edges, pour it through a fine mesh sieve to get rid of the gazillion seeds. It's a lot of seeds. And don't forget the bottom. And then temper it right into your egg yolks. And then pour it right back on into your pan. And heat this up until it's nice and thick too. The raspberry will cook much more thicker than the lemon, and it'll leave a very distinct trail behind your spoon, like you see here. Pour this back into the bowl and set it aside too. Your crust should be finished baking right around now. If not, you get a 15-minute break or so. When the crust is done, it'll have formed a dome. So I take a ramekin, or you can use a measuring cup, and tamp it down to make a swimming pool for the fillings. This is where you can get really creative if you want. You can gently pour and spread the raspberry on the bottom, and then pour the lemon on top, or you can swirl them together. Or you can pour the lemon and dollop in the raspberry and run a soup spoon handle through it. It's really up to your imagination. And that's what I love about baking. It's the creativity. Then bake for 22 to 26 minutes longer. The jiggle will go away as it cools on the countertop. Then chill in the refrigerator for 3 to 5 hours or overnight. This is a great make-ahead dish. Then, right before serving, take it out of the pan, peel back the parchment paper, and generously dust with powdered sugar and garnish with fresh raspberries. And there you go. Leave a comment. I love reading your comments. And don't forget to boop that bell.